Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to a Black Friday edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Along with G. Bush and Jason Lloyd, I'm Adam the Bull. We've got Mike, we've got Steve, we've got Anthony, we've got Bree behind the glass. Is she working, or is she just hanging out?
Bree, Ant, give her the mic. Bree, are you working?
Is she contributing to the show today?
I'm absolutely working today.
When did she get
Very
here?
good.
On the payroll.
She might just be keeping Anthony in line
I
today.
never even saw her. Is she here the whole time? She's sitting right there? I had no idea.
She was, yeah.
Jason missed my fist bump. Then he missed Earl's fist bump.
We asked Jason about Varsity Blues as soon as he came in. Tunnel vision.
That was it.
He was,
Well,
he was in left field.
Bull hit me with a whipped cream bikini within 30 seconds.
Yeah,
of
because
walking
it was over.
Because Anthony, Bree, and Mike have never seen Varsity Blues, which is
I
a crime
said I
against
saw
humanity.
Varsity Blues.
Oh, Mike saw it.
I told
but-
you 7 times.
Sorry,
I saw
sorry, my bad. Earl, Anthony, and Bree have not seen.
If they don't
Varsity
watch
Blues.
it by Monday, they're going to get tased.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
You have
That's
to watch it
fair.
by Monday.
Listen, I may be a person that before you used to have a poll that said, "Oh, who's going to be the last one here?" And I would have probably won that poll. But if you probably put a poll out and say, "Who's the worst active listener?"
Me?
Bull, I don't know. Jay's the worst active listener.
No, Jay's by
Jay is
far
the
the
I'm
worst.
way better than Jay.
We'll pull the curtain back real quick. We do a morning call every morning where we go over the rundown, and I end it every day, and all 3 of you out there can attest. I say, guys, got it? Jay always says, got it?
Yeah.
And then does whatever the hell he
Never
wants.
does. He never pays it.
Mike-
I start saying to Mike, don't even bother because Jay's not paying attention.
Mike will tell Jay there's a cold open. There's a
Yeah.
cold open. 30 seconds before, and then Jay ignores him anyway.
Yeah, that's it. But I didn't listen actively on Mike saying.
So everyone but Earl.
And Ant.
Anthony and Bree have not seen it.
All right, well.
You got to see it.
Yes.
You guys should watch it this weekend. The reason I brought it up is because just started watching the show Landman yesterday, starring Billy Bob Thornton.
I love it.
And the
I
girl
love
who
it.
had the whipped cream bikini from Varsity Blues plays his ex-wife, and she still looks great.
You blew my mind.
You didn't
with
realize
that.
it was
I didn't
her.
realize it.
Yeah.
I've seen every episode of
Yeah,
Landman.
that's right.
Did not put that. Bree, I'm sorry. I was not ignoring you. I legit did not see you.
That's right. He's, anyway.
I have ADD.
And I thought it was really cool that Billy Bob Thornton, of course, for those who may have seen not Remember the Titans. What's the movie I'm thinking of now? I forgot it. Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights.
Billy Bob Thornton played the coach in Friday Night Lights in the movie, not in the TV show.
Yeah.
And on the show Landman, at one point they go to the high school football game, which is the home of the Permian Panthers. That was the team he coached.
Yeah, that was cool.
In Friday Night Lights, which is based on a true story. I actually read the book. Anyway, so that was a cool little connection there. It's a good show if you're interested on.
He did a show on
Paramount
Amazon
Plus.
too that was really good.
Great show.
I forget
It
what
was
it was called. I forget
he
what
was
it
a
was
lawyer
called.
in that one.
Yes.
I can't think of the name of it.
Washed out drunk lawyer.
Yeah. He was in L.A. I can't think of the name of the show.
Really
It was like
good
3-4 seasons of it.
Did you see they're bringing Suits back, by the way?
I never watched that show.
Oh! You're getting tased too. Suits is awesome.
But it was a networky show. so I don't-
No.
Yeah.
No, it
That
wasn't.
was USA, I guess.
Yeah, but they got very.
USA, is that still a
It is still a thing, but they don't have original programming anymore. Where are they bringing it back? On Netflix?
I don't know.
Because it was.
I think it's Netflix.
It
Suits
became
LA.
popular again when it was on Netflix.
I binged every episode
Yeah.
on Netflix.
Oh,
It
you
was
had never
awesome.
watched it originally?
No, I never saw it
Oh,
originally.
okay,
I saw it
so-
on Netflix. Phenomenal though. It's
Yeah.
awesome. They're bringing it back in LA.
This whole conversation started because I was telling Bree and Anthony that I went to see Gladiator 2 yesterday. Thanksgiving has become our tradition in my family. We go, Aaron and Liz and I, we go to the movies on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And so we went to see Gladiator 2. We watched the first Gladiator Wednesday night, and then we went to see Gladiator 2 yesterday. It was okay. Not amazing, but it was all right.
yeah, kind of hard to top.
Yeah. It had Denzel,
Yeah.
who's amazing, and Pedro Pascal, who's a big actor right now. And the acting was good, but I don't know, the CGI was a little much. So anyway, it was all right, but better off waiting for it to come out on video. Or I say video. That's an old school reference right there. Anyway, there's a lot of sports to talk about, including a triple header of football yesterday. The Cavs lost their first non-Celtics game Wednesday night. They're back in action this afternoon, and the Browns don't play till Monday. But first, let's go to Mike and see what's going on.
Yeah, before we jump into the reads, it feels weird going a Thursday to a Monday. The extended rest from a Thursday night game, the Browns beat the Steelers. Now we get a whole week of football because we have Thursday games. We have a Black Friday game today. We have a Sunday slate. And the Browns don't play till Monday.
The Browns essentially got a second bye.
Yeah.
It's more than
11 days between games.
Yeah, that's almost a full bye right there.
Yeah, we'll see how it pans out. We're going to talk Browns. We're going to talk Cavs. We got some win totals that I'm very curious to see which way you guys land on. And G. Bush is hot about a topic that we're going to get to right around 11:45. Yeah. So make sure y'all stick around for that. But let's dive into our first topic today, guys, after a quick word from FanDuel. You can tackle all the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. But, Bull, we start today with the NBA and the Cleveland Cavaliers. On Wednesday, the Cavs lost to the Hawks 135-124. Afterwards, Kenny Atkinson called the game a stinker. And it's only the Cavs' second loss of the season. They're still 17-2. But tonight we get a chance, and actually today, because they play at 2:30, get a chance to see how the Cavs will respond to their first stinker of the season. Jason, you were there. G. Bull, how do you think the Cavs will respond to their first really subpar performance of the first quarter of the year?
First of all, it was a weird game because they got off to that great start. They had, an 18-point lead? 19-point lead. And then they just were horrible after that. I mean, for the first time since the second week of the season before the winning streak got interesting, I'm like, I've lost a little momentum on my excitement for the regular season because now they've lost to a bad team for the first time. And you're like, all right, now we're in the drudgery of the regular season.
That didn't take long.
Now, I'm still excited about the Celtics on Sunday and the Nuggets next week. But am I excited against the Bucks today? Yeah.
Will you watch the Hawks today?
I'm sorry, the Hawks. I meant the Bucks. To be honest, I will not watch because I'm going to an escape room this afternoon at the same time. I forgot the game was in 2:30 in the afternoon.
Wow, escape rooms are kind of cool.
What is that exactly? Is that the video game or is that where you break shit?
No, I don't think you break
You basically go in and so you have to find out with a group of people. They lock the doors.
Yeah.
They do have a monitor up there where they monitor the room, and you go through the room and check out these clues. And once you get the clues, it leads you to another part of the room to get to these steps.
You're locked in a room and you have to escape.
And then
you got an hour to do it.
Yeah.
My son did it with 4 of his friends last week at the easiest level.
Yeah.
And it was an hour, and they solved it with 2 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, wow. So do you work together or are you on your own?
We do. No, we work together.
Hey, look, I'm going to tell you what. I went to one, and I thought I was challenging myself on my skill set. Man, it was hard, bro. It was crazy. They had all kind of math problems. They had geography.
Which one did you go to?
Man, I forget which one it was. I got it on a Groupon. This was 3 years ago.
Was it Crocker Park or no?
That was that one.
Yeah,
it was.
That's where we're going.
It was on the hardest level.
Yeah.
It was hard.
All right.
It wasn't playing around.
It should be fun. So because I honestly, when I made the plans, I didn't even realize the Cavs were playing a day game today.
Yeah.
But can we learn anything? I mean,
here's the thing.
Yeah.
Where I'm at with the Cavs, obviously they're playing really, really well. If you want to focus on something that they need to work on, it's defending the three-point line. They're second worst team in the league right now at defending the three-point line. And Kenny said a couple games ago, well, everybody shoots threes. And that's true. Everybody's making threes now.
Yeah.
But you can't use that as an excuse not to run guys off the line and not to
if you're the second worst, then even though everybody's shooting them, you're doing a worse job than everybody else.
Yeah, they're giving up. I just looked it up this morning. I think it's 39% they're allowing at the three-point line.
Yeah.
Only the Hawks are worse, who they play today.
Yeah.
So we talked about it before the season. There was going to be a little bit of slippage on the defensive end just by nature, and that's okay. It's okay. but you can't just let teams roam free on the 3-point line. So if you're looking for something to clean up, that's it. Their defensive rating has slipped a little bit the last couple of weeks. Clean that up a little bit. Again, you don't have to lead the league in defense.
No.
You just can't be at the bottom.
No, you got to be top 10, right?
So,
top 15.
I mean, you top 15. Just be in the top half. That's really it.
It seems like since the Celtics game, they have not played well defensively. Even the 2 wins they had between.
Who they go through?
Who were those 2 games they played since the Celtics, between the Celtics and the Hawks,
They beat
Mike?
the Raptors and
Charlotte? No, that was before the
Charlotte was before.
Celtics.
I'm pulling up the schedule real quick.
It seemed to me that they've given up a lot of easy
The Raptors
shots
in New Orleans. They smoked
in
New
those
Orleans.
last 4 games, even though they scored a lot of points. Maybe,
Well, they held New Orleans to 100. Now, that was a shorthanded team.
Pelicans said nobody.
I think
They held Toronto to 108. I mean, that in today's day and age, 108 is a great defense.
Right, but maybe they just weren't knocking down their shots. It just seemed like their defense on the 3-point line has been, these last 4 games, particularly bad.
Now, look, we talked about it before, and we do this a little bit ourselves, is we look at the way the Cavs are playing, and then we take a look at the way they lost to the Celtics, and we take away from that game. Well, the Cavs are right there with the Celtics because they lost on the road, and it was a close game early in the season, and they continue to keep rolling. But I actually liked that they got beat like that. I'm really happy that they got beat in that particular way because Jason is right. He's 1,000% correct. You don't have to be the best defensive team in the league in order to get where you want to go, but you got to be middle of the pack. And especially when it comes to guard the 3-point line, you better do that because the Celtics do that better than anybody. I see sometimes that the Cavs get into lazy closeouts. Sometimes they get into this thing where they're daring people to shoot. Like, yeah, I'll close out on you once you hit 2 in a row, and we can respect that. No. You're going to have to, in today's NBA where everybody is knocking down threes, big men is knocking down threes, you can't let any team get into the rhythm and continuously let them shoot. And you saw it. They were up 18 points. And then all of a sudden, the Hawks was like, oh, y'all going to let us shoot these threes out here? And so when you're shooting at that level, it's kind of hard to turn off somebody's water once they get in the rhythm. Then you're in a dogfight at that point. So for me, I think it's something that they can look and they need to ratchet that down a little bit. They need to consistently run these guys off the 3-point line. And there's a bit of a focus thing. Like there's great coaching points that say, hey guys, listen, we believe we was drinking our own Kool-Aid. Like we're not, this season is young.
Yeah.
We're not in the finals yet. Let's get it going.
And Trae Young, I mean, he shot terribly in this game, right? What?
Yeah, he didn't shoot 6 to 18 from the floor. He had 22 assists, so shout out to Trae Young.
Yeah, which is great. 22 assists is crazy.
Yeah, they made the comeback in the.
See, Mike, you ripped him.
Well, hold on.
And he played his most unselfish game ever.
I say he's a good passer. He's talented. Yeah. They did make their 19-point comeback in the first quarter with him on the bench. So.
Okay, but then they still won the rest of the way.
Just saying, his plus-minus in the game was 5, and they won by 10, so it wasn't all him. Jalen Johnson played really well.
I didn't say it was all him. He shot poorly, but
Trae Young played a good game.
I'm with Mike.
Absolutely.
I don't like Trae Young as a player. I would not want him on my team.
I'm just saying, in this game, you get 22 assists.
Yeah, he's fine.
I'm not talking about him career-wise. I'm just talking about this one particular
He cooked. He was cooking. He had
a good game.
He got his guys involved on the road, and that's what you want to do.
It was funny because he was terrible from 3, and they had one other guy go 0 for 8. I can't remember who it was.
But they had
and then they had everybody else shot the lights out.
So I thought this was really interesting. After the game,
or
actually before the game, excuse me, I asked Kenny Atkinson, when you get the numbers after a game, what numbers do you particularly look at? Like, which ones do you care about that maybe we're not aware of, and which ones don't you care? And he goes, I don't care about the regular box score, traditional stats, rebounds, points, whatever. That's not relevant to us. He's like, I'm not going to tell you all the stats I care about, but here's one that I think is interesting and it doesn't give anything away. And I thought 2 nights ago on Wednesday, it is relevant to what happened. He said one of the things we look at halftime and one of the things we look at immediately after the game is how the opponent shot over expected. So, hey, they may have made 23s, but based on the quality of look they got, they just made some shots tonight. Like, we give 80 points, but their shot quality was 60%. That means we're doing some good stuff defensively. They're making shots. Now, on the flip side, if they shoot they score 80 points in the first half and their shot quality is 97, then, our defense sucks. So just because they score doesn't necessarily mean it's bad defense. Now, we don't have access to those numbers and how they calculate and track good looks versus bad looks. That's their own
That's
formula.
them doing that on their own.
That's them doing it. It's not an NBA.com
Well, but
stat.
there is an NBA stat of shooting percentage over
There is, but
expected.
They do it within their version of we want to
Okay,
get
so
a
I
shot.
got what
But
you're saying.
my point is getting back to the game against the Hawks. As a team, Atlanta made 23s. And we don't know their exact numbers. So I'm not saying this is what Kenny said. Kenny told us that pregame, not postgame. He made a point to say we have to guard the three-point line better. And that's been pretty clear. Jason's point, they're second worst in the NBA in opposing a three-point shot percentage against. They get way too many open looks from three. And I think when Kenny goes back and the staff goes back and they watch the film, they're going to see a ton of opportunities where they did not make the necessary effort to force the extra pass and just succeed.
Yeah.
Not succeeded.
Let me ask
Allowed too many open opportunities for Atlanta.
Let me ask you this question, McNuggets. We talk about the league being like a copycat league. Everybody shoots threes now. And the way we got here was it's almost like Daryl Morey. Like he's like, we're just going to – we want dunks, layups, or threes, right? And D'Antonio was another guy that was like, okay, well, we'll just take these threes, right? So – at what point defensively in the NBA do they just say, look, we don't care if they get 97 layups at the rim. We don't give up threes here. None. We don't care if you drive. We're not giving up driving kicks. You better drive and finish. We're not giving up no threes, and that is our adjustment. At what point does the league say, who cares about the layups if you want? Because everybody wants these threes. Everybody. They built their whole team around it.
Jason, you want to take a stab at that? I have an idea, but it's just a theory.
If you go to that extreme and you constantly leave, you're going to get beat on. You're going to get beat on layups. The percentage that you're shooting layups is a lot higher percentage than teams. Even wide open threes, you're still missing 60% of them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you could go the other way and say, we are not giving up a layup. You can have all the three-pointers you want. You're probably going to lose. But they're still going to miss, on an average night, they're going to miss 60% of those. Where layups, you ain't missing 60% of the layups. You're going to hit every single one of those. Is that, I don't know.
Yeah, well, because, so for example, right, against the Cavs on Wednesday, Atlanta shot 42 threes, and they shot 45 twos. On twos, they went 26 of 45. If you make those all layups and dunks, and essentially and even if you have a Wemby or a Mobley or an Allen,
40 out of 45.
You're going 37 of 45, and at that point, you're getting more free throws. Guys are going to foul a ton. If you're just challenging, like your big guys are going to be an absolute hell trying to just constantly defend without fouling. I hear what you're saying. I think Boston and the teams that can switch, OKC can do this pretty well, switch 1 through 5 and just try to force isolation basketball is the best bet against the three-point barrage. Say, hey, if you want to go one-on-one with 6 seconds on the shot clock, even if you take a three, it's going to be a contested end of shot clock, more difficult look. But, yeah, it's tough to play defense in the NBA.
You know what's funny is you could change the NBA tomorrow just like this. If two-pointers were now worth 3 and three-pointers were worth 4.
The math.
The NBA would change like this.
I heard a fascinating
Yeah.
I was talking to a buddy this week.
Yeah.
And he works in basketball.
Yeah.
And he was like, what do you think if we just limited the amount of three-pointers a team could take to 40? In any game, you could take up to 40. Once you hit 40, even if it's in the third quarter, you can't take any more.
I don't know.
I heard something along
I kind of
those-
like that.
Somebody said you could. It was a little different. They said, "Listen, we're going to give you 3 points for your first 23-point shots. Anything after 23s, they only count as 2. So basically, if you want to shoot all those threes and that's what you guys want to do, if you max that out,
But the league doesn't want to do this. So they
I don't know.
If you max it out,
Another thing you could do is have the three-point line start at the foul line extended. So there's no corner threes.
Corner threes, which is the easiest shot, or the easiest 3 in theory.
Right.
If you limited it, because think about it, if I hit 15 threes in the first half, and I know for a fact that if we hit a couple more threes, I'm not getting an advantage of having those be 3, and they're 2-point shots,
Right.
people are going to say, why would I shoot that? Let me get to the
right.
basket.
Right,
then.
yeah.
Like, I have to change the way I'm thinking about it because there's no real
that's-
benefit of it.
Yeah, and, I mean it would make games more competitive too because teams.
Jason, what do you think the league thinks about the the
Are
increased
ratings
volume?
down at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. This is a big thing.
See, I don't. I like I said, I've been having fun watching the Cavs, and they've been a fun team to watch. But I do, and I've said this, and I think a lot of people my age and older feel this way, that this current state of the NBA is boring because there's no mid-range game and there's no back-to-the-basket centers like that old school time. I was just watching this mixtape, this highlight of like Magic Johnson making all these
Crazy
crazy passes and shots. And I'm like, nobody really does that anymore.
Yeah.
Like once in a while you'll see it, but it just doesn't exist.
I know the league is hell-bent on fixing the All-Star game. And the All-Star game, to me, is sort of a picture of everything else. Like, I talked about this last year.
Yeah.
You could date back how the game got here. You can go back 20 years ago when David Stern and Jerry Colangelo got in a room together and said they were going to change the rules after some of those Allen Iverson finals when it's 80-76 in the
Right.
finals game. And they voted to take out, I think, hand checking, a couple other things. They tried to open up the game, and the owners voted it down. And David Stern said, "Nope, go back in there and vote again. This is happening," and basically rammed it through.
Right.
And that is what started everything that you see
Yeah.
leading up to last year's All-Star game, which was an absolute debacle.
Disaster.
And that's sort of a synopsis of where the rest of the league is. So does the league want the league wants scoring. They want excitement.
Yeah.
But the bigger thing to me, I always will go back to this, stars drive ratings. People want to see stars.
Yeah.
And the league is actively working to disassemble star-driven teams. That, I think more than anything, is what's going to impact the ratings.
Yeah, certainly.
So, and this is what they wanted. This is what they wanted. And you're going to have an OKC Cleveland finals at some point here in the next couple of years. I absolutely believe that. Although a couple of years ago I thought it was like, what if it's like Cleveland Memphis when Ja was
But it's
really
not
rolling?
even just about Cleveland because when LeBron was here, it was fine that it was Cleveland, right?
Because he's the biggest star in the
Right,
league.
but neither Oklahoma City or Cleveland have any sexy superstars.
Not the
Right.
household names.
Yeah,
of-
right.
They got really good players.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is fantastic, but he's not a sexy name in the NBA.
Because he plays in OKC.
Right, yeah.
And I will say, you brought up a good point about the way people play. So the diversity was there. Like you had Michael Jordan, who had the fadeaway, and also had the mid-range turnaround game, right? But you had guys like Charles Barkley that was 6'4" with a unique game, and you had Patrick Ewing, you had David Rod. None of those guys played alike. None of them. Even John Stockton and Magic Johnson with his passes.
I mean, do you even have a player like Dennis Rodman anymore who's just like, I guess maybe right? Like,
No.
I know he's extreme, but and
Ben Wallace was the same.
Ben Wallace was the same way.
Yeah.
And think about it like this. You got guys like Anthony Edwards, right?
Yeah.
One of the most athletic guys in the game. You got guys that are like, Giannis and all these other guys. And then what they realized was, so I should just shoot 10 threes again.
Right.
Instead of being, let me get in the open court.
Right.
Speaking of highlights, remember the dunks, the athleticism, the finishing at the rim? You rarely even see that anymore. Because people are like, all right, well, I'm going to just shoot these threes.
One other thing I wanted to take out of Mike said that's kind of completely different than what we were just talking about. First of all, I thought it was a great question that you asked him. I love that question because I am somebody who's like nerdy and curious about that stuff. And I love that his answer was not a traditional stat because we as a media in whole, I don't know what the word I'm trying to get.
Totality.
Mike says totality all the time, and I think it doesn't make sense half the time he says it, so I didn't want to say it. When we judge teams and players, we do it on old school traditional stats, and in many, many cases, they are not really representative of how good a player is. Even when we talk about all the time, how many touchdowns does that quarterback have? Right? If
That drives me crazy because you could throw a 68-yard pass, get to the
Exactly.
goal line and run it in, and you don't get credit for it.
Exactly.
Or you could run it all the way down, play action in the end zone.
Exactly.
Or throw a 1-yard screen pass. The
it's
receiver
always-
and
yeah.
7 guys miss.
And we
It's
have
always
to
driven
do
me
it this.
crazy.
Even those of us who are interested, first of all, the word analytics has freaked people out. We should have never used that word. It's just newer stats. That's all it is. And people don't understand them because they're complicated, and there's snobby people who came up with them that don't explain them well. And so people's, it's easy to keep track of wins and runs and RBIs. It's easy to keep track of yardage. Do you think there's actually an NFL team that cares about the yardage allowed?
I
don't think there's a single team that when they're analyzing their defense is like, all right, how many total yards did we give up?
It's all about framing. I think some people don't like analytics because it's perceived as elitist.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I
because
think-
they use that word,
Yeah.
and because it's a bunch of nerds that created these things.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you should always be trying to find a way to more accurately see who the better player is. There's no, I mean, it's insane that people. I think about not that long ago. I can't remember what year it was, but sometime in the last 10, 12 years, Rick Porcello beat Justin Verlander for a Cy Young because he had 22 wins that year. I don't remember what year it was, but not that long ago. And that's in baseball, which has been into analytics way longer. That's why he won. Justin Verlander was better at every possible statistic except for the wins.
2016.
Yeah.
2016? That was 8 years ago. Rick Porcello, look at his stats, the rest of their stats compared to Verlander. Not close.
But the thing that you do that a lot of people don't do is this. You can't take it in, we just talked about the movie Silo. You can't take it in a silo. And you actually have to watch the game, and then from what your eyes tell you, you use analytics to further validate what you're seeing or dig deeper and check it out to see if that's
true.
correct.
That's fair.
Because if I'm looking at the game and I'm like, man, he's really good, and you say, well, let me look at these advanced analytics. And advanced analytics can tell you, well, all right, he is good, but pump your brakes, right? Here's some things. Or he is good, and he's actually better than you actually thought because of this, and that. It goes in tandem.
Because again, all we do, especially like defensive player of the year, it comes down to sacks and storyline. That's who wins. It's based on sacks and storyline.
You're right.
Once in a while, if somebody has a huge interception number, that factors in. Otherwise, it's only about sacks and storyline. That's it.
Storylines is crazy.
Like, I could argue, I would argue, Myles Garrett to me is the best defensive player in football. He's been the best defensive player in football. I don't think last year was his best year at all. I don't think he should have won defensive MVP. I think there are other years he should have won, and last year he shouldn't have. But last year was his turn.
It was his turn.
It was so stupid.
Facts. It was his turn. Like somebody, it's always one or two people that get out in front of it and say, you know what, Myles Garrett this year, I mean, he's been great, but I really feel this year particularly.
I went through that with MVP voting in the NBA for years.
Right.
I voted LeBron every year. Every year
You were right.
I voted LeBron.
You were right. They were wrong.
I don't care that James Harden hasn't won one yet.
Right.
LeBron's the best player in the league.
Or
That's
Russell
it.
Westbrook.
Or
average
Russell.
You
two-
know,
triple-double.
like I don't know what, I'm not sure. Is Giannis, not Giannis, is Jokic having another great season statistically?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
There'll be
having-
people who just won't vote for him because he's won 3 in a row.
He's
right?
having maybe his best season today.
Right, but there'll be people who won't vote for him. He's won 3 in a row. I can't vote for him again. And I don't know if he deserves it or not. I don't watch the other NBA teams enough to know who should be the winner. But it's stupid. If you're voting against someone because they've won it before, that's idiotic.
I agree.
How does Kobe
Real
have
quick.
one MVP?
That's insane.
Bull, right now,
That's insane.
you ready for this? On just
Yeah.
the Jokic numbers real quick. He's third in the NBA in scoring,
Yeah.
first in rebounds, and second in assists.
Oh, that's
Okay.
stupid.
Yeah. I mean,
I know those are traditional numbers, and we just said we don't love traditional numbers.
He's
but-
a center, bro. He's second in assists.
He's top
I
three
actually
in
think traditional numbers in basketball, to me,
are the most relevant.
are more relevant than in baseball and football.
I mean, all I know is I hear what you're saying, and
Yeah.
I agree with a lot of it. During timeouts, LeBron's sitting on the scores table looking at that stat sheet. They all do.
sure.
The players are sitting there looking at that.
Sure.
They're looking at points, rebounds, and assists.
Because that's what
factors into their contract.
100%. I got you.
I have one last question, but real
Yeah.
quick on Jokic again. career high in points per game, career high in rebounds per game. Not career high, second most in rebounds, career high in assists per game. He's shooting 57% from floor and 54% from three.
Who's even in the conversation for MVP with
It's
him?
15 games in. Who cares?
it's
I
way
don't
too
even
late.
know
No,
who
yeah,
else
it's
is.
way
but-
The narrative hasn't been written yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait till that.
the question on the Cavs, though, then we'll move
Yeah.
on to Jerry Jeudy and his potential revenge game against the Broncos.
Revenge game. That's
We're going to get to
wild.
it. Are you expecting a bounce-back win? It's 2:30 tip-off.
Yes.
NBA TV. Coming off a stinker, will they come back and beat the
Yes.
Hawks in the rematch?
I'm expecting a win.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think they
What are
will.
they favored by today?
5.5.
Oh, that's
5.5. They were 10.5 point
Oh,
favorites
they're on the
and lost
road. That's
outright.
All right.
In Atlanta. It's an NBA Cup game. If the Hawks win this game, they clinch the Group C
That's big.
spot
big.
in the NBA Emirates Cup, which I know we're all locked into. So,
Locked in, baby. Locked in.
all right, let's pivot, do a quick read, and time to talk about Bull's favorite topic, revenge games for wide receivers.
I
If
love
you
a good
want to
one.
see the Browns play the Broncos in Denver or in Pittsburgh the following week, or check out any Cavs game this week, they have the Nuggets at home coming up next week. You better be using GameTime to buy your tickets. GameTime and has a new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. With the GameTime Picks app, you can see all-in pricing, views from your seat. Their lowest price guarantee will credit you 110% of the difference if you can find a cheaper ticket online. Plus, their GameTime ticket coverage is the best and most flexible customer service policy in the entire ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime Picks. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it, Bull?
Game time.
It's game time.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Leslie texted me earlier. Goliath was the name of the show.
Goliath. Good job,
Which means
Leslie.
she's watching, so stop talking about whipped cream bikinis. I will get tased when I get home.
Shout out to the Goliath, which was the main character on the 90s cartoons Gargoyles.
And shout out to Goliath from the 1960s and 70s animation kid show, Davy and Goliath, which I watched as a kid. It was the worst show ever. They were, hello, Davy. The dog would talk.
I have no idea what you're talking
And
It
it was
was
all-
claymation.
It was claymation.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about religion, which
did.
I had
Yeah, Davy
I had
and
no idea.
Goliath.
But I didn't know as a kid. I was watching some religious show. I didn't know. I don't like.
Went right over your
By the
head.
way, speaking of which, I'm at Whole Foods. I come out of Whole Foods was open yesterday, right? So I'm coming out of Whole Foods, and this guy starts to walk up to me, and I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna ask me for something. What does he want? So the guy walks up to me and goes, "Sir, may I talk to you?" And he was probably look like he was about 30 years old, maybe in his 20s. I don't know. And I was like, yeah, all right. And he goes, have you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior? And I'm like, for those who don't know, I'm Jewish. I'm like, dude, you're talking to the wrong guy. He goes, but he just starts to talk, and I'm like, listen, go find someone else. Here's what I don't understand. It has nothing to do with whatever religion is yours is fine with me. I have no interest in hearing about it, but whatever. It's fine, whatever religion you are. Who would stand in a supermarket parking lot trying, like, who is he actually is there somebody he's going to talk to that's like, I'm 50 years old and never thought about religion before, but gosh darn it, bring me some Jesus.
You never know.
Is
You
that
never
going to
know.
happen?
You never know what people are going through.
It's called outreach ministry.
In the
never
Whole
know.
Foods parking lot?
Oh, yeah.
You never know what people are going through. If they're alone on Thanksgiving, you never know.
Yeah, man.
That's true. Maybe that's why he was there. Because like, look at these pathetic people have to get a turkey from Whole Foods.
All right, guys. Jerry
Go ahead,
Jeudy makes his return to Denver on Monday, the team that drafted him in the first round and then traded him to the Browns. It's a two-part question. I'm going to give you guys both and let you guys take it however you want. A, can a wide receiver have a revenge game based off the number of factors that go into his individual production? And two, can Jerry Jeudy have a revenge game against the Broncos if Pat Surtain is shadowing him all game? Surtain typically shadows the opposing team's number one wide receiver, so if that trend holds, he'll be shadowing Jerry Jeudy. If that's the case, What are your expectations for Jerry Jeudy against the Broncos?
Now, when it comes to can he have a revenge game, here's my thought. Like, I'm in this chat group with guys I play fantasy baseball with. Some of them I've known for forever, right? And not only do we talk fantasy baseball, but if there are baseball transactions that happen, somebody will throw in there, hey, this was a trade, blah, blah, blah. And if it's really a low-level transaction, I will reply below the line, which means that's not worth it. Don't waste my time with that. It's below the line. The question is Jerry Jeudy below the line? Like, to have a revenge game, you have to be I feel like have some stature as a player.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Jerry Judy's above that line to be worthy of having a revenge game.
And two teams, first of all, you have to actually, are the teams above that line? The Browns or the Broncos are not above that line.
Well, the Broncos are a playoff team right now.
I mean, but no one really, like.
They don't seem like they're a legitimate contender,
Yeah,
but
they're not.
But right now they'd be a playoff team.
If you're talking Ravens versus Steelers, okay, now we got above and below line things.
Okay.
Now we can talk about something.
All right.
Here is
no revenge game for you.
No revenge game. And plus, like, you're right, like, I mean, what is a revenge game? 80 yards? Like, come on.
I guess if he put up like 200-yard game, I mean, he's coming into this. He's pissed.
Of course.
You know,
this is the team that drafted. How many years was he in Denver? Like 5?
4.
4 years.
Four?
This is his current 50.
You know how many touchdowns he has in his career, by the way?
Probably like 9.
12
That's close.
in 5 years.
Yeah.
In 2023 he had 6. In his other 4 years he has 6 combined, including this year.
But you know why I think Mike's question has merit is because Jameis Winston is going to gas him up and get him the ball. Because he's going back to
13 touchdowns. Sorry, 13.
Because he's going back to Denver. Like, look what he did last year with Jamal Williams and all hell breaks loose because they ignore the play call and they get the touchdown at the goal line.
Yeah, sure. They will try. I'm making fun, but I actually think it is a revenge game.
I think Jameis will make a point of trying to get the ball in his hands.
He should.
I hope so. Like, for me, it goes back to, I was talking to, I think I was doing a podcast with Quincy Carrier, and he was talking about like the worst Browns years since 1999, and we going back and forth. And I said, you know, the Browns were terrible when they had Josh Gordon. I said, but it was fun watching it. He was like, yeah. And I said, you know why it's so fun? Because they force-fed him the rock. Like, we were horrible. We had 96 quarterbacks. I think Jason Campbell was throwing them the ball, Brandon Weed a little bit, Hoyer. And I said, you know what they would do? They would just throw Josh Gordon the ball 18 to 20 times. Just spam Josh Gordon button, and I loved every second of it. And you know what? I love when people do that. The Browns never seem to. They seem to like, yeah, we're going to go out there and throw to whoever's open. Nah, we don't want to see that right now. We want to see you spam and get one guy open and get some stats so we can be happy or excited about anything happening next year. I want to see, if Jerry Jeudy, think about it, if Jerry Jeudy gets, I don't even know if this is possible.
15 targets?
If he gets 1,200 yards.
This year?
This year. I'd be excited.
1,500 yards this year?
1,200.
He'd have to average about 100 yards a game the rest of the season.
He has 645 thus far this season.
And we have 6 games left?
The Browns are 3-8, so 6 games left.
Yeah, he's going to have to average almost 100
So
yards
if he got 1,200,
yeah.
Now I'm excited. Now next year I'm like, oh yeah, Jerry Jeudy.
I think you hope he can get 1,000 for the first time.
I like 1,000.
Yeah.
But
He's averaging 59 yards a game this year.
What's his career high for a game?
He's been better the last 4. I'm just saying overall.
He's never had more than 900 yards, I don't think, has he?
His career high in yards was 972.
Okay. He's never had 1,000.
what is his average with Winston?
We can do it real quick, but his 4 games.
He's averaging about 90 yards a game, a little over 90 yards a game.
Yeah, 79, 73, 142, 85.
I could work with that.
154 is his career high for a game.
So if he want to come out here and get 100 plus and a win,
his last 4 games are the second best 4-game stretch in terms of yardage in his career. I know somebody put up on Twitter yesterday that it was his best. It's not, but it's close. His last 4 games in 2023, he had 385 yards in those 4 games. His last 4 games this year, he's had 379. So, he's playing.
Close.
He's had statistically amongst the best 4-game stretches of his career.
Now, the other part of this question is the Pat Surtain element.
Yeah, right.
Tyvis has talked
one of the
about
best in the
at
game.
length. In his opinion, Surtain is the best defensive back, cornerback in football right now. If he's going to be shadowing Jeudy, do you think Jeudy can still have that level of impact in the 90-ish yards, which he's been averaging with Jameis Winston, if Pat Surtain is going to shadow him? And like I mentioned before, Surtain typically follows around the other team's number one receiver and shadows him.
I don't expect him to have a big
tough.
game.
It's gonna be tough.
And that's why I'm starting Elijah Moore in one of my fantasy leagues.
By the way,
is Cedric Tillman playing as far as I don't know, right?
Kevin Stefanski just spoke. He is not practicing today. He's still in concussion protocol, but because it's a Monday game, he has till tomorrow to.
Yeah, my
receive
guess
his
is he
data.
doesn't play this week.
And here,
why
real
rush
quick,
him back off a concussion?
in case anyone is unfamiliar, these are some of the Surtain numbers this season. Following around number one receivers.
Yeah, that's,
he has 3 interceptions.
those pretty good numbers,
8
traditional
passes
and non-traditional.
defended. Yeah, it's the number one graded PFF cornerback, and his 56.4 quarterback rating against is the third best of any defensive back that has even semi-decent volume. There are guys who have only faced 2 passes who have a 0, but that's the third best of any real-time guy who plays a lot of snaps.
Here's what I'll say: the way the rules is basically nowadays, I don't think corners can totally shut down anybody. Like,
yeah, but I wouldn't expect him to have one of his best games ever in this matchup.
and well, no, what I do look at is, all right, if the Browns run the football, it's hard guard people in play action. But I don't know if the Browns are going to run play action. Who that's the funny thing about them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to have a beat on what they were going to do. Like, you take a look at what they did in the snow, and they were aggressive throwing the ball in the snow. So, I look at it, from a standpoint of, I think Jerry Jeudy can stand to get 50 or 60 yards or whatever the case may be.
That is not a revenge game.
That is not a revenge game, though. That don't count. That's Minimowski.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if he had like 12 to 15 targets in this game.
Oh, I'd spam
I
targets.
think he's going to throw him the ball a lot to try to get him. And, if he has one big play.
If he's got 12 to 15 targets, how many picks does Jameis throw?
It could be a lot.
Well, if you look at the New Orleans game when he had 142 yards, 89 of those came on the one crazy long touchdown. Yeah. So he could have a big game.
If he has one big play, that makes it a big game. That's going to make it a big game. So
I think the takeaway is he's going to have the opportunity. He'll have every opportunity to have a big game because you don't have Cedric Tillman. I think this is his number one target. He likes throwing them the football. Yeah. And I heard Jameis Winston plugged in. Jameis Winston was plugged. He was like, what a great day. Offensive line. He was over there preaching. Hey, I'm like, if he knows this is a storyline, he's going to force feed him this rock.
Jamari Thresh has 1 catch on the year, right, Mike?
That is correct.
Over under 1.5 receptions for Jamari Thresh this week.
None. 0.
I'm going to go over only because I don't know if Tillman's going to play.
Right.
Free
If Tillman doesn't play, right, is he going to be the third receiver?
Free Kadarius Toney. What's up?
How old is Kadarius Toney, by the way? Is he worth looking into? If he's 28, I'm not interested. If he's 24, okay.
He's 25.
All right. I mean, he's got the worst hands I've seen since Stone Hands from Necessary Roughness. But
dust off that Schwartz playbook and let him run into rounds all week.
Mike, have you seen Necessary Roughness?
I have not, but real quick.
Yes.
Wait, have Bree or Anthony seen
Definitely
Necessary
not.
Roughness?
No, they're shaking their heads.
Kathy Ireland.
Oh, yeah, she was
at the top of her game. The top of her game.
By the way, I need you to remember what you were going to say because I'm going to say this. When how many dudes, when they used to deliver the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, I used to run home to get to the mailbox. You talk about my mom and dad was the people trying to convert people in parking lots.
Yes.
So I'm like, hold on, Kathy, I run in front of this door. I
better get home before mom and dad get home.
That's right.
Hurry up, let's
By
get
the way,
going.
Jim Brown, of course, was in that movie. When they play the convicts. Remember when they play the convicts?
Vaguely.
Jim Brown was one of the football. They bring in a bunch of convicts to play against. It's all these great football players. Jerry Rice. I can't remember some of the other guys, but I'm pretty sure Jim Brown was in it. Jim Brown was also, of course, in The Running Man. Yes, which he was great. But you know, big actor now who was in that movie in kind of a smaller role was Justin Bateman. Jason Bateman, not Justin Bateman.
Did you remember your comment, McNuggets?
Anyway, go ahead, McNuggets.
Yeah, I did. I just mentioned unleash the end around. He did have an end around against the Saints and lost 7 yards.
Yeah. And
they'd rather hand him the ball because then you don't worry about it. Don't throw it to Stone Hands.
Scott Bakula threw a fastball, hit him right in the face mask.
great.
Man.
Scott Bakula was the man in those days, man. All right.
Wait, one last thing on Jerry Jeudy before we move on.
Yeah.
And this, I didn't put it in the rundown. I'm just throwing this out there.
Yeah.
We had talked at length when they initially signed him to that extension when they traded for him.
Yeah.
Overpay, underpay, whatever. In hindsight now, 11 games in. Still early, but 3-year, 51. Does that feel about right for the caliber of player the Browns have gotten from Jerry Jeudy this far?
It's certainly not an underpay. They didn't get a deal.
No. No. There was really no reason to sign that contract for the Browns. Are they overpaying him? I don't know. Would he get that kind of money in free agency if he, based on what he's like? Let's say he finishes the season with 900 yards.
Yeah.
Would he have gotten 351 in free agency? I don't think so.
Now,
I think he's a little overpaid.
Here's what I will say.
Yeah.
If Jameis Winston plays the rest of the season, and
Yeah.
he has great numbers, we'll look back at the first part of the season when we was 1-7 and say, man, if Jameis Winston was here the whole season, could he have possibly had more yards? Because Jerry Jeudy was throwing helmets. Jerry Jeudy was kind of salty the first 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Honestly, I think it's still too early to ask that because do you feel like David Njoku is overpaid?
How much is he getting a year?
When he signed that contract, we all said, oh, my God, what are they doing?
Yeah,
Right. I think
it's
he's
about right.
fairly paid.
It's about right.
I think, what does he get, like $12 million a year, Mike?
And Njoku's at 13.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair.
So by the end of the Jeudy deal, we may be sitting here saying the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the top of the wide receiver market has been skyrocketing.
Yes.
You know, Jamar Chase, if he signs with the Bengals or whoever, is going to get $30 million plus a year, whatever the highest contract.
Jefferson's the highest right now at 35.
Yeah. Oh, Jamar Chase getting more than that. I mean, Jamar Chase is the best receiver in the NFL right now. He's having the best season. And he's been, one of the top 3 receivers for the last few years. T. Higgins in free agency this year. He's the best wide receiver in free agency. What's he going to get? Now, he's better than Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
What's he going to get? I mean, he's going to get over $20 million a year.
The guys in the Jeudy range this year, Deontay Johnson's at 18.
What do you mean in the Jeudy range?
Of numbers
Money.
or
Of
money?
numbers. So Judy's making 17.5. These are the guys in that range this year, just to give you some comparison.
Yeah, I mean, I leave out Deontay Johnson. He hasn't done anything since he's gone to Baltimore. He's having a weird season.
I'm just giving you money-wise.
Money-wise. Okay.
Yeah, this is in the money-wise range.
All right. So,
Around $17.5 million. Deontay Johnson's 18.4. Christian Kirk's 18.
I'd rather have Kirk, but he's hurt, so.
Tyler Lockett's 15.
Similar.
And Cortland Sutton's 13.8.
Same dudes.
I mean, Cortland Sutton's better than Jerry Jeudy, though.
Sutton's having a hell of a season.
And Christian Kirk, before he got hurt, was better than Jerry Jeudy.
I'm saying that's the range.
Yeah, I mean, but the guys, he's around those guys, I guess. Those guys are like, number 2 receivers.
Unless the Browns, I've been thinking about it. I know we talk about a lot of different things. Unless the Browns get because I'm looking, Amari Cooper is like, Amari Cooper is not a number 1 receiver. Like, he was a 1.5. Then he got old. He couldn't he couldn't run certain routes.
I thought he's a low-end 1 when he was here.
He was a low-end 1.
Until this year.
Yes.
Until this year.
He's
Okay,
not a 1 anymore. Yes.
I don't think the Browns are going to do nothing unless they get a number 1. They got to have a number 1 receiver. They got to find it. They just have to. Like you play at such a disadvantage, especially the way defenses play now, where they let you get that dink and dunk stuff off. You got to have somebody that can at least bail you out once in a while with a huge play.
Is there any team that's a legit Super Bowl contender that doesn't have either a top 10 quarterback? I'm not even gonna say top 10. Yeah. A top
12
10 quarterback or a top 10 receiver. You don't have one or the other.
I don't think there is. I'm going through my head.
I mean, the Steelers don't have either.
But
they're not. I don't consider them a Super Bowl
They
contender.
ain't winning nothing.
Buffalo does.
Buffalo's got a top 10 quarterback. Kansas City's got a top 10 quarterback and a top 10 tight end.
Miami
but
got
Baltimore.
it. Baltimore.
I don't
got
think
it.
Miami's
not
a legit
Super Bowl
contender.
But they have top 10 receivers.
Now, to be fair, Cincinnati's got both, and they're not in the playoffs.
Okay.
Now, if they somehow made the playoffs, which means they'd run off 6 wins in a row or 5 out of 6 to end the season, we probably would consider them a contender.
Detroit
Does. Amon-Ra's a top 10
Yep,
receiver.
yep.
Philly.
Philly,
A.J.
Brown's a
Brown.
top 10 receiver.
Okay.
I would say Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. And Jared Goff might be a bottom end top 10 quarterback.
12.
Minnesota has Jefferson.
Yes.
Jefferson.
I don't consider them a Super Bowl
yeah.
contender.
I'm just naming teams that are in the playoffs.
San Francisco, if they're healthy.
Yeah, there is none.
Purdy, I guess, is a back end top 10 quarterback, maybe. I don't know. He's borderline. They don't have a top 10 receiver.
It certainly helps more have it than don't.
If you got Debo and Ayuk and Kittle,
Baltimore's obviously got Lamar.
yeah.
By the way, Zay Flowers in the next couple of years might be a top 10 receiver.
He's good.
He's top 20, but not top 10.
Yeah,
really
you're right. There aren't any.
So and the Browns don't have either right now.
So if the Browns can't get the quarterback,
yeah.
they better.
Now, if your quarterback stinks, it doesn't matter that you have a top 10 receiver.
Right.
But if you have a tier 2 or even maybe a top tier 3 quarterback and have that elite pass catcher, listen, the worse your quarterback is, the better the rest of the team has to be.
Yep.
But if you have a good quarterback, not a great quarterback, but a great receiver, obviously that makes a difference.
All right, let's move on to our next topic, guys.
Yeah.
After a quick word from FanDuel, you can tackle all of your NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. You get started with $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins at FanDuel.com/UCSS. Earlier this week, Mary Kay Cabot, who covers the Cleveland Browns for the Cleveland Plain Dealer, reported that the Browns still want to evaluate Jed Wills more. And they need to see him healthy to get back on the field so they can make a final evaluation on whether or not Jed Wills is part of their long-term plans on the offensive line. G. Bush, is there any evaluation left to do on Jed Wills? Or at this point, do we know exactly who he is as a football player?
I put together this montage and realized that we can't even show NFL film here, so it did me no good. And I was gonna put this montage together of Jed Wills and his lowlights, but it was so many of them that it was like 3 minutes worth, and these was only 3 to 4 second clips. And I say it don't even make no difference. I'm gonna just have to go in and vent my frustration. At this point in time, Jed Wills has been, how many years he's been here?
This is his 5th year.
This is his 5th year. I love Mary Kay. I respect her work, but this is inaccurate. This is not even close. If you want to, people would want to reevaluate Deshaun Watson before Jed Wills, and think about where we are with that. When they say reevaluate Deshaun Watson, and we already off the train with that, we want no parts of it. You telling me that you got to reevaluate Jed Wills? Here's the thing you can't reevaluate: heart. Here's the thing you can't reevaluate is your understanding of the game and the preparation of understanding what you were supposed to do. And you can't evaluate if a player is going to play to the whistle and play with a nasty streak and know what he's supposed to do. I defer. Don't listen to me. I'm just a random old washed up MAC defensive lineman who didn't play in the league. Didn't do none of that. But let me just go to Joe Thomas. And with Joe Thomas, and we asked him the question about Jed Wills and his business decision, and Joe Thomas was right here on these airwaves. If you were smart when you put it, if you was doing YouTube, be like, the link to the description is right here. This is the Joe Thomas interview right here, linked right there. Go check it. It'll be in the description. He said point blank, period. Nah, Jed, Bill Callahan was on him about some of these same things. Year 1, year 2, year 3, it's year 5, and he's still doing it with a different set of people.
Yeah.
So the evaluation period is over. You know what coaches don't evaluate? They don't evaluate effort, because if you don't have a level of effort, that's your ticket, that's the price to admission. Knowing your assignment and playing hard is bare minimum in the NFL. And Jed Wills, he put it on tape. There's nothing else to see. It just is what it is. And no, there is no evaluation.
Jason?
I wouldn't get hung up on the language. This goes back to Albert Breer talking about bringing in competition for Deshaun. it's what you say in November. It's not necessarily the reality of the situation. And I kind of put this the same way. I'll take it back to Jerry Jeudy. You said earlier there was no need to sign Jeudy to that contract. The thing I would tell you is the Browns, as an organization, very much believe when you think you know, you go.
That's right.
And they believed in Jerry Jeudy. Well, Jed's playing out the fifth-year option, and he has no other contract. So what does that tell you? It's the same with Baker. Like, they didn't give Baker the extension either. So the decision's been made. They're just playing out the string at this point. Yeah. Jed, I don't see the scenario in which Jed is back on this team next year.
There is zero chance. You're right. The Browns, more than any other team, are quick to re-sign guys. So if they wanted to, they would have already re-signed him. And something you brought up, Joe Thomas. Here's how you know. Joe never says anything bad about players on the Browns. Ever. And every other time we've had Joe Thomas on the show, he has defended Jed Wills. Mm-hmm. But when he lost Joe Thomas, what does it mean? It means he knows they're moving on. That's the reason he was critical. He knows that the Browns are moving on.
This whole thing has been very strange with Jed. Like, this is not supposed to be a year-plus recovery. So
yeah.
Either there's something structurally wrong with his knee.
Yeah.
Or
he's not trying.
Or there's something about the work ethic there.
Yeah.
I don't know what the other alternative is.
Or his relationship with the Browns is, whatever.
See, like, you're not supposed to, arthroscopic knee surgery is not a year.
No.
Plus recovery.
Jack Conklin tore everything up.
Everything.
All the CL.
He's got a bionic knee.
And he's over there looking like he's back to normal.
Yeah. So, and in fairness to the Browns, we killed him for the Conklin contract, and he's actually played well.
Loki saved him. So to me, I just go back to it. When I saw him, when you see that clip of him and two guys are coming, that sounds crazy. That sounds stupid. Sorry, I apologize for that. Pause. When you see two defenders breaking into the backfield, and Jed Wills does this and this, don't block one of them, and then stands and watch somebody get hit.
And then does this.
And then does this.
Like, what was that,
I think
pick up one guy, even if you're not sure who.
Just block somebody. Hit somebody. If it was Bill Belichick, he would probably got cut after that. He might have got cut just for that. So, no, there's no evaluation. There's no evaluation.
No, it's over.
That's done.
Jed Wills is gone. The question is, I think the interesting question is, do the Browns feel like they have to get a left tackle this offseason? And I think they should feel that way. Because even though DeJuan Jones has a ton of potential, obviously there's a lot of talent in DeJuan Jones. But I said this a couple of weeks ago, I'll say it again. You cannot go into the season relying on DeJuan Jones to be a starter right now. Now, maybe down the line he will play to the point and stay healthy to the point where you can. I don't think you could go into it relying on him being a starter.
Go ahead.
I agree with you. I don't know that you can count on him at this point to put in the work. You hope that he will. He'd be a professional, take it seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know that you have 100% confidence right now. And until you do, you have to have a backup plan. Mm-hmm. Or you have to have someone who can at least start until you see DeJuan in August and know that his weight's under control, that he worked out this offseason, that he got better.
Yeah.
And then if that's all true, great. Put him at left tackle and go.
Right.
But you can't just blindly believe that that's going to happen.
If I'm the Browns, I 100%, this idea of drafting a position of need when you're not sure if there's a guy worth that pick is stupid. But if they're picking in the first round, and let's say they're picking 10th, and the best player on board, and they're looking at the best players available on their board, and one of them's a left tackle, I'm drafting a left tackle there. If there's a guy worth taking, I think that's a position of need. And most importantly, if there is, and looking at mock drafts, there appear to be a number of good offensive linemen. Who knows? The last time they drafted an offensive lineman at 10, it was Jed Wills.
That's the part
that was a terrible pick. But
that's the part that you're apprehensive.
Yeah.
Because the same guys picking
saw
Tristan Wirfs and Jed Wills, and they went with Jed Wills.
Yeah.
Those eyes don't change. I don't know what analytics or what they saw to make them think that this was it, but you're going to go back into the draft, and this is the scary part about it. And I know we talk about Stefanski and Andrew Berry, but man, receiver, left tackle, defensive end. You need one of those positions, and I haven't seen you give me any of those. I haven't seen you hit none of them out the park. Now, granted, there was late round picks, 3rd and 4th rounds, and I know what you're gonna say about Cedric Tillman, but listen, if they got a top 10 pick, they got it. This guy has to be a starter and a Pro Bowl caliber player. They have to.
You draft a guy in the top 10, the expectation is at minimum he's a Pro Bowl caliber player. Yeah,
has to.
And obviously, Jed Wills has him as their only top 10 pick that Andrew Berry's had. Has not been close.
He's just regressed every year. That's the disappointing part. Is as a rookie, no one was saying this
At
his rookie
all.
year.
No.
He had a good rookie season. I went back and looked at some of these numbers. I'll pull them up for you guys real quick. He had a good rookie season.
He's just gotten worse every
Yeah.
year. I mean, I was adamant last year. He's average, guys. He's just average, and I believed that. And I still believe at that time he was average. But he has just gotten progressively worse every year.
It don't even seem like he got his heart in playing. Like when you hear him speak or you look at his mannerisms, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, and I'm not saying that he might not have no injuries, and injuries can play a role because, especially with people who've never really been hurt, it's different. I went through this period of never being hurt, never being in the training room. To you have injury, and then you have a lingering injury, then you have another one that ends your season. You start thinking, man, I don't even remember the last time my body didn't hurt. I don't remember being healthy, and it kind of messes with your confidence a little bit. But right now, when hear him talk, it's just like, when you hear Nick Chubb talk about how he had to attack that rehab, sometimes, man, that rehab, it takes it out of you. You gotta want to play football, and sometimes you be in the training room so much and your body don't feel correct. You just say, listen, I'm gonna just ride this one out.
I got the numbers real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So as a rookie back in 2020, Jed Wills' first season, he played 15 games. And in those 15 games, he allowed 18 total pressures and 4 sacks. On a 17-game pace, that's 20 pressures, 5 sacks. Last season, 2023, the last time he's played extended time. Remember, as a rookie, 15 games, 8 total pressures, 4 sacks. 2023, he played 8 games, allowed 29 pressures and 3 sacks. In a 17-game pace, that's 62 pressures and 7 sacks. From his rookie season, 17-game pace of 20 pressures, to his 4th season in the NFL, a 17-game pace of 62 pressures.
It doesn't make any sense. And he had the best line coach in the league.
Best one.
Right.
That's what Joe Thomas said.
If the best line coach in the league can't get him better,
I don't know how another team would look at him and say, we can fix him.
So this reminds me that 2 nights ago, I had a dream that I was the exact same weight I am now, but a foot taller. And that I was a starting offensive lineman in the NFL.
This is crazy.
And it is crazy because I normally only have bad dreams. For whatever reason, I have bad dreams all the time. I don't know what the reason is. In recent years, I have bad dreams all the time. I wake up like I can't even go back to sleep. But this was like the best dream I've had in forever. And I was just like this huge, I was huge, but not fat. I was a monster. And I was killing people out there. And I woke up and I felt so good. It's like, yeah! And then I realized I'm 100 pounds. I'm the same weight, but I'm a foot shorter.
I was just thinking
6'7".
I'm not saying the Browns should do this, but I'm like looking at how do you salvage Jed Wills' career? Would a team move him to guard?
It's worth a try.
I told you. He's a guard. He has never been a tackle, Jason. I said this is a guard all day and twice on Sunday.
He's a right tackle at Alabama.
Yes.
Well, that was the first problem. They drafted him to play left tackle when he was a right tackle.
But I'm just looking at him going, could you salvage his career? Could he salvage his career by moving to guard?
He has a guard build. He has guard footwork. He has the guard. At least he was a mauler when he was on the right side of Alabama.
Yeah, and there's less responsibility at guard, right? Like
He's got help.
If you made him a guard on a team that's a run-heavy team like Philly or Baltimore, I wonder if he'd become a decent player.
I try. I just never thought he had the skill set to be a left tackle. I mean, you talking about usually I want my tackles. I want Lane Johnson. Give me a Joe Thomas. I want my guys long, athletic. Now, the guy that Trent Williams is the anomaly, right?
Yeah.
Like, because he's built like I think Trent Williams can play anything. Like, it'd be good.
Yeah.
But most likely, I want that length so you can get that punch where you can negate some of that speed. Jed Wills, to me, has always seemed like a guard. I always thought that was his natural position.
But could he pull? Would he? I don't know that he could. He would be a pulling guard.
He's not a bad athlete. But maybe here's the thing. One thing that's a problem with that, Jason, is if you give up in the middle and it's a straight line to the quarterback. Like,
hey, Bowlby finding Jesus. He's the quarterback.
Yeah, right.
Like, Jed Wills is guard.
You got the defensive tackle in your lap. Like, now.
Let somebody else try to figure out if he can move to guard. Let's move to Mike for the next topic.
Yep, we got another topic that's going to combine the Cavs and the Browns. I'm excited to see where you guys land on this one. And if you want to see the Cavs or Browns in person this season or the Guardians when they come back next season, you better be using GameTime Picks to get your tickets. GameTime has a new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier than before. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The Celtics are in town Sunday. If you want to see the Celtics versus the Cavs, GameTime Picks is going to help you do that, and they're going to save you some money. Plus, they take the guesswork out of buying tickets if you use the GameTime Picks feature. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Bo, what time is it?
Game time.
It is game time.
Yep.
All right, guys, as of this morning, these
Yes.
were the updated win totals for both the Cavs and the Browns on FanDuel. The Cavs, over-under regular season wins at this point, as of this morning, 59.5. The Browns, over-under win total for the rest of this season, now, well, not the rest of the season, but in total,
Yeah.
4.5. I had to ask you, which one of these overs is more likely to hit? So over 4.5, so 2 more wins for the Browns, or getting to 60 wins for the Cavs? What would you say is more likely?
I would say the Cavs.
I'd actually say the Browns. How many games they won right now? 3?
Yeah.
They need to win 2 more.
I don't see 2 more wins for the Browns.
I think the Denver game is winnable.
I mean, they're all winnable.
I mean,
But they're going to be an underdog in every game the rest of the year.
so I'm looking at it. If you get Miami
Miami at home, they actually might be a favorite.
Miami
Against
at home.
Miami?
Yeah, Miami at home, and you give me the Denver game. I like it.
Only because of the location and timing.
Yeah, I guess so.
And if the Bengals, think about it, if the Bengals something happened to them where their players aren't in playoff contention, who knows if they're going to play all their guys? T. Higgins, Joe Burrow.
I guess.
They might not even play their
Yeah.
people like that. I could see 2 wins.
I'd actually take both of those. I like both of them.
I think I got the Cavs at 61.
I think the Browns. I kind of agree with G. They might run into a win on Monday. I do think that they can find 2 more wins in there, the way James is playing right now. And with the Cavs, Mike and I talked about it on the podcast after the game Wednesday night.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the numbers with point differential and all that, they're basically right on pace in point differential to where they were the year they won 66 instead of franchise record. And if you go a step further, and if you look at a lot of their numbers and efficiency numbers, this guy Ben Falk used to work in the league. He now runs this great website, Cleaning the Glass. He's projected them, and we went through the numbers on the show. His projections and the Cavs win total have been within like 2 or 3 of each other. And right now, he's projecting the Cavs for 68 wins.
Let me ask you this question: when you talk about you covered the teams where you had the Cavs and they won 66 with LeBron. Obviously, you come back and LeBron was on this kick where we don't care about the regular season; it's all about playoffs.
Yeah.
Who drives the goal of we want to win as much as possible? Is that the coach, the organization, or the star player?
It's the player.
So to me, I think for them to hit upper 60s, it got to be like Donovan Mitchell being like, oh, no, we about to win these games because I feel like it's important.
And he has that mentality of he's trying to win every game, of he's trying to win every game that he plays in. So, I mean, maybe that changes because, I've talked about it 100 times. once teams reach a certain level and then they realize the regular season isn't as important to them, that's when you see things dial back. Usually, not always. I mean, Boston's still rolling.
Yeah.
And Golden State won the championship and then won 73 the year after that. So it's but a lot of teams, once they see how much energy it takes, the effort that it takes to make that long run all the way through June, then they dial back November, December, January, February. The Cavs aren't at that point yet. So they're still climbing. They're still on the way up. So they're going to try and win as many games as they can. I absolutely think this is a 60-plus
To not
team.
win 60
would be a disappointment almost at
they'd
this
have
point.
to lose 21 more games the rest of the year, right?
Which is kind of
They're 17-2.
a lot.
So 19. So they got 63 games left, right?
Yeah.
63, and they need 43. They need to win 43.
Yeah, they win 43.
43 and
So they need to go
21 the rest of the
33
way.
and 10 the rest of the way.
No.
No, 43.
They need to go 43 and
21.
21. That's only 2/3 of their games they have to win the rest of the way to get to 60. I think they'll definitely do that.
I remember it being 66
20,
and
34
12.
and 20.
They went 66 and 12. The Cavs
16.
Did. 66 and 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys could talk me into both.
Yeah.
I would still lean with the Cavs, but yeah, I mean the Browns.
Browns
win
can run
games.
into 2
Yeah,
wins.
a couple wins. Like it ain't gonna be too much. Like we just look.
I guess it depends. I feel like Jameis will be a little more up and down the rest of the season.
I agree with that. But he's still going to give you more ups than Deshaun was.
Sure.
And plus, I think. So here's the way I'm thinking about it. This is my conspiracy theory.
Go ahead.
If Ken Dorsey is calling plays, right? This is a weird situation because I think if you would poll the audience and say, do you think Ken Dorsey will be back next year? I think people will say 60-40 no.
I would say he's 100% going to be back.
You see them like
I don't think it's 100.
No?
at 60-40, I think people will say, nah, he ain't gonna be back. So if I'm Ken Dorsey and I got Jameis Winston and I'm calling plays, what you think I'm calling? I'm aggressive to the max. I don't care if it's 4th and 5. I want to go for that. I want to go for 2.
But that's ultimately Stefanski's call.
Stefanski is he's a gambler.
Yeah.
So to me, I think if you give Jameis the opportunity to throw the ball a bunch, I just think watching the game, I mean, Jerry Jeudy was running routes in the snow. I was like, if they ain't running the ball down, I believe that they're going to throw this rock and see what's going on. And in that case, it gives the Browns a chance, a puncher's chance, to win a game or two that they wouldn't win if they were in contention.
If you had to pick only one, Jason, you're going with the Browns. I'm going with the Cavs. If you had to only pick one.
Only pick one, I'd take Cavs.
If I only had to pick one, I would still pick the Cavs.
Oh, okay.
I would still pick the Cavs, but I can see where
see both.
I can see where
All right, Mike. What about you?
I like both. I kind of think the Browns, like, I feel like they're going to run into 2 wins. If it was 5.5, I go Cavs, no brainer. But when I look at the Browns' schedule, and Steve, if you want to pull up the Browns' remaining schedule here, the last 2 slides, they have some winnable games. They've won some games we didn't think they were going to win. They beat the Steelers.
It's the NFL.
That's what I'm saying. So I think they could run into, in their next 7 games, they could run into 2 of these.
6 games.
238.
They've still got divisional games. They've got 3 divisional games.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they got the Broncos, which I think they can win.
Miami again melted last night.
They got the Steelers, who they've already beaten. I'm not saying they're going to beat them again. Then the next 4, Steve, like, you have Miami in it. Take it whenever you're ready, Steve. You got the Bengals.
Can't we get all 6 final games on one break?
I could put it on one now.
Let's
yeah,
go.
I can do that.
Let's get
the
together.
Ravens, at this point, they may be playing for a playoff spot. They may have clinched it up. Like,
yeah, they
I'm
can
not saying they're
easily
gonna run
win
the
week
table by
18
any
if Baltimore
means.
sits every week.
And like I said about the Bengals, if the Bengals
the Bengals are not going to be eliminated by week 16.
what's that record?
No, the Ravens in 18.
Well, yes, that's possible.
What's the
Bengals could be eliminated by week 16.
What's the Bengals record right now?
4-7.
What are the chances the Browns have a better record than the Bengals?
I don't even know who the Bengals are playing the next 2 weeks. The Bengals play the Steelers this week.
Did Zach Taylor get fired?
No, he should be. I wish he would.
After the year, at the end of the year.
How could he not?
I want to say yes, but the Bengals, they don't fire coaches quickly.
Yeah.
Ever.
What's he got left on his contract?
I don't know. I don't remember.
the Bengals have, by the way, after Pittsburgh, they are Monday Night Football at Dallas.
Yeah,
Then
they'll
they're
win that game.
at Tennessee, home for Cleveland, home for Denver.
I mean, listen.
and then at
The
Pittsburgh
Bengals have
ending.
been a weird team because they've scored. There's been a bunch of games. I think they have 3 or 4 games where they've scored over 30 points and lost. I don't think any other team in the league has done that more than once, if at all. So if the Bengals beat the Steelers this week, big if. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Big if. Look at what'd you say the next 3 games were? Cowboys, Titans,
Browns.
Okay.
They could go on a run.
If the Bengals beat the Steelers, they could very easily be 7-7 going into that game against the Browns.
Yeah.
In fact, if they beat the Steelers, and again, I'm not that confident in that, but if they do, I bet you they'll be 7-7 because they, as inconsistent as they've been, I can't see them losing to the Cowboys and Titans right now if they have something to play for. So I bet you they'll be 7-7 coming into this. So I doubt the Bengals will be eliminated from the playoffs.
Going back
by the Browns game.
to the question of Browns 4.5, Kevin's got a winning record in the division since he's been here.
He does.
Yeah.
So they've got 3 division games left. They're not going 0-3.
No.
They'll get one of those.
One of those,
At
they'll
least
get
one, if not 2. Especially Baltimore, that Week 18 one is kind of
Aren't they
wonky.
all on the road?
They're all on the road.
Yeah.
But
Their only home games left are against Miami
And
and
Kansas City.
Kansas City, yeah.
So, I mean, that's tough.
I'm calling right now they're going to beat Miami. They're going to beat Miami.
Right. The question, I think if they beat Denver Monday, they got a shot.
They could beat Miami and win one divisional
of the
game on the
division
road,
games.
and they get to 5.
I'm not as convinced as you are they're going to win one of those.
Hey,
I don't think they're going 0-3.
Let me get. And this may sound stupid. Shout out to Darren wherever you at.
Darren had our guy Darren Smith had surgery this
Yeah,
week.
shout out to Darren. Speedy recovery, my friend.
Wish him the best.
Don't roll out of the bed on this one, but I think the Browns have one of them games where you pull one of the San
Lord.
Francisco 49ers game out of the hat.
Oh, Lord. You calling them to beat the Chiefs?
Listen, I
Wouldn't hold your breath on that
Hey,
one.
you know what? Listen, it's one of the greatest pulls of all time if it happens. Because I said they would beat. I said they'd beat the 49ers last year. I just think like the Browns is at home that game. I don't know what the weather gonna look like, and
Now, the weather doesn't matter. The Chiefs playing that way.
And Jameis Winston is a praying guy. I could see a Hail Mary win in that game. Like, but here's the point.
We'll be floating in the Caribbean.
By the way,
that
do
week.
we think God pays attention to football games? Like, is he if one team prays more than the other, is that team likely to win?
No.
Doesn't God have now? Personally, I don't believe in God, but if you do, that's great. I wish I did. I probably wouldn't be as stressed out about dying,
Right.
if I did. So I wish I did. But I always wondered, like, it never made sense to me, like people praying to God for football games, because I'm like, if there is a God, he's got to have more. Or she has got to have more important things to do than worry about the results of football games.
When you say the team prayer, I would always laugh and
Yeah.
get up, right? And I say, God laughs a little bit. He said, "Oh, look at my little creations down there. You guys are so smart. You still believe in Santa Claus. I'm not helping you in this. I'm too worried about. I'm in Afghanistan right now. His God is in the Middle East right now. We're trying to work that out for about forever.
Yeah.
So it's all upon us. He's like, listen, go out, work hard. Who cares about your wins and losses? I've only prayed. The number one thing I pray for when I go in the field is that nobody gets seriously hurt.
Safety.
There you go.
I don't want nobody
That
hurt.
makes sense.
seriously
I
hurt.
can understand that.
And even he said, well, ACLs ain't that serious.
That's true. Sometimes when I see the thoughts and prayers when a guy has like a torn ligament, I'm like, he's not dying.
You still get a job. You still get a regular job, dog. Like, you gonna go to work. Like, wake up, put these pants on. Like, but yeah, like.
By the way, I asked the YouTube chat what they think, what was more likely to hit, which over, and with over 100 votes, 63 went with the Cavs, 37%.
That shocks
went
me.
with
We
the
have a Browns biased audience, but
I'm going to get 2 super chats in, then we're going to just talk a little Ohio State, Michigan, and give our picks for the big game on Saturday to end the YouTube portion of today's show before we head over to the WKYC version. 2 super chats. The first one comes from The Big Hurt. Hey, everyone, thank you for all the hard work you put in. I'm in the Army in Korea right now and watch every show. Go Browns, Cavs, Bucks, Guards. For the Browns' first-round draft pick, who would you specifically want them to draft, if not a quarterback? But before you answer that, The Big Hurt, we appreciate your service.
Absolutely.
And please come back safe,
wow.
and thank you for watching.
I have to look up what time it is in South. I'm assuming it's got to be South Korea. It is 2:19 in the morning right now.
Shout out to the
that
Big
he is
Hurt.
watching. 2:19 in the morning in South
awesome.
Korea. It's actually Saturday in South Korea.
So who would you draft? Non-quarterback.
I don't know the specific names of players. I wish I had an answer.
Travis Hunter.
That'd be my guy. It'd be Travis Hunter if they're going to be in
Right, but
position.
they're not going to draft that high to get him.
The other name I'll give you, and I'm not so sure on the offensive lineman. I
Yeah.
like Abdul Carter, the edge rusher from Penn State, and Nick Scourton, the edge rusher from Texas A&M.
Listen, I love Abdul Carter. Listen, man. I like him. If you can get me another monster pass rusher on that opposite side, man, I'll be ready to go. It's kind of nerve-wracking. I'm a little nervous. Is that we had two. I was always trying to build the defense to have like pillars. I think Greg Delpit is a nice ball player. But the injury to JLK throws a lot of just wrenches. I mean, it just you haven't heard much about it. And, when you now that defense was built along creating havoc, speed, and when you take him out to the defense, it's rough.
I went to look at a random mock draft. This one is on CBS. They have them Browns ending up with the 8th pick and taking Mason Graham, defensive lineman from Michigan.
He's a
He's a
defensive
good player.
tackle.
By the way,
tackle.
look who they have the Bengals taking at 10.
Abdul Carter.
I didn't see it. Emeka Ibuka. So that means T. Higgins is
I
out
like
here.
that. Well, he's definitely out, unfortunately.
Next super chat comes from Topo42. The
Topo
NBA should look to change the rules for the Lame Cup tournament. If you want to engage for a made-up event, do something more radical. Take away the 3. Do something different.
Why don't they? Have they ever thought? Like I always thought the NBA, like they've never increased the size of the court in the NBA, right? Ever?
No.
Guys are much bigger. They're more athletic. Like, why wouldn't you make the court bigger? And then push out the 3-point line.
Guys are shooting from the half-court line. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Some of the guys warm up like
Right, but if
effortlessly
the
from 40
line was
feet.
further back, you wouldn't have as many guys shooting as threes as often.
I mean, if
By
you
the way,
push
of
it back
course-
2 feet, it's not going to make a difference.
I mentioned Michigan, and then Steve, our executive producer's got to text us with his Michigan propaganda.
By the way, the Bears have just fired Matt Eberflus.
Oh,
it is
they
official.
should. That
We
was
are going to
pathetic.
talk about some other fireable
Oh, yeah.
offenses in the
Oh, yeah.
WKYC show,
Oh,
so make
yeah.
sure you tune into
He
that.
just did his press conference this morning.
I know.
And he doubled down, didn't he?
And then they fired him after the press conference?
Get about
Yes.
it. We wanted to see what you was going to say.
That's just a poorly run
And
organization.
we
They're
was
a
gonna,
joke.
We was going to see what you was going to say if you was going to retract them dumb statements.
Yeah.
And you didn't retract them. Get out.
That was as bad a clock management
But,
as I've ever
you know,
seen.
In my life.
Some of
Yeah,
that
how
goes
do you
on-
fire him after he holds a press conference?
But some
today?
of that goes on the quarterback, too. Some of that goes on the quarterback.
He's 12 years old.
Hey, if he's out there, he's the number 1 pick. You got to snap the ball.
Right,
Snap
right.
the ball.
Here's the
Hey,
deal,
Bill, we're
though.
going to talk about it in the TV show.
Okay.
All right,
The
all right.
only reason I want to cut this is,
Yeah.
or not cut it, but Ohio State, Michigan on Saturday.
Yeah.
We do got to give our predictions. We're oversight. Will Johnson, who is the maybe the second best cornerback in football, maybe the best. He's going to be a top 15 draft pick in the upcoming draft. He is not expected to play. He's battling with a toe injury, so he might be out, which is
Missing this
another
game
advantage.
with a toe injury? Huh.
He's missed the last couple of games. They
Oh.
thought he may be able to come back. It is now trending
right.
unlikely. But Michigan, Ohio State,
Yeah.
is this the year the Buckeyes can break their 3-game losing streak to the team up north?
Better be.
They better.
I mean,
Better.
Ryan Day won't get another chance.
if they don't, Ryan Day's furniture's got to be on the lawn at the end of the game.
I mean,
I got a good moving company I can set him up
yeah,
with.
really good.
Old family friend, give him a good deal.
and they disagree with Dustin.
Send him to
Disagree
Florida
with
State.
me. I said he lose that game. He's done after the game.
He probably won't be. But we would fire him.
I would make it a point. I would come out and I'm the new AD, and I'm like, look, we got 2 veteran coordinators. They'll do a fine enough job.
Yeah.
But this is not what we do. When you recruits come here,
Yeah.
just know this is what we're here to do. Is beat
Ohio
Michigan.
State should win by 5 touchdowns.
If they lose this game, he's John Cooper.
Yeah.
He's John Cooper.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
what are they at 20? What's the spread? 20? 22?
Look at the most updated. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, it should not be close.
No.
At no point should this game be close.
You got.
Do you know that real quick? Do you know that Boise State's playing Oregon State right now?
I did not.
Yeah, there's always goofy Friday games there for Thanksgiving in college.
The spread's 19.5, by the way.
I mean, if you saw the traffic or lack thereof coming downtown, most people, this is a holiday.
Yeah,
there was nobody on the road.
nobody on the
Ain't
road.
nobody online today.
No.
People still traveling and hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers. It's our lowest viewed show in a long, long time.
It's a holiday. I mean,
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I hadn't looked. And
Oh, it is a bad thing, but
Like
not unexpected.
Like, but he has to. I mean, Ohio State has the pick of their litter. They got the most NIL bread. They got some of the best facilities.
I got Michigan up 7-0 at the end of the first quarter.
I was thinking if they
and
got
Ohio State wins 42-7.
If Michigan gets the opening drive or gets a 3 and out and then goes down and scores, there's gonna be some tightening of the sphincters.
Boy, I'm gonna be all over Twitter looking because them Buckeye boys come out. They don't tweet much during the regular games, but during that Michigan game, everybody's out ready to go.
I said a week ago on Twitter after the Indiana game, and it had nothing to do with the Indiana game. I said, win or lose, Ryan Day is a D. I think you guys know why I don't like him. Mm-hmm. Right? We know what happened.
Yeah.
So anyway, people went bananas. People were angry at me, especially because I wouldn't say why.
Do
him.
you know? You got guys. You don't know that man personally.
Yeah.
How could you personally attack him? He'd be like, well, I know some things you don't.
And so he's dead to me, Ryan Day. And anyway,
But I do think, if given the opportunity, you talk about running up the score.
oh yeah.
Oh, there is no
should
break.
run it
There
up.
is no break on this game.
They should. If they can put up 70 on them, they should.
They will. They will not. If
What's
he's
the
gonna,
most points Ohio State's ever scored in this?
if he's going to run it up on Indiana, what do you think he's going to do to Michigan?
Right.
Like after all the crap that he's taken the last couple of years, after the cheating
62
allegations.
points, Bull. 62.
62 is the most Buckeyes have ever scored.
Correct.
Yeah.
If given the opportunity, he will score 63 and go
And
for
Michigan's
2.
offense scored 50 last week, but they've been terrible before that.
They stink.
It always.
Hey, we'll see you on KYC
We'll
in
see you then.
3 minutes.
All right.
Peace.
Later.